The conference room fell silent the moment Sarah Chen pushed through the glass doors. Her 2-year-old daughter balanced on her hip. 20 pairs of eyes turned toward her. Polished executives in tailored suits, their coffee cups frozen midway to their lips. Heat flooded Sarah's cheeks as little Emma began to whimper, sensing the tension in her mother's trembling arms. "I'm so sorry," Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the air conditioning. "I brought my baby. The daycare called this morning. They had to close because of a pipe burst, and I couldn't find anyone to—" She stopped herself. No one cared about her excuses. These were people who commanded million-dollar accounts and flew first class to board meetings. They didn't want to hear about broken pipes and frantic phone calls to babysitters who didn't answer. Sarah's eyes stung with tears she refused to let fall. She had worked 6 months to secure this presentation, 6 months of late nights and sacrifice, all to pitch her marketing proposal to Thornwood Industries. Now it was crumbling before she'd even opened her laptop. The CEO, Marcus Thornwood, sat at the head of the table. His reputation preceded him, ruthless, demanding, the kind of man who fired executives for being 5 minutes late. Sarah had read the articles, heard the stories from former employees who spoke his name with a mixture of awe and fear. His silver hair was impeccably styled, his navy suit probably cost more than her rent, and his dark eyes gave away nothing as they studied her and Emma. Sarah shifted her daughter to her other hip, preparing for the inevitable dismissal. She could already imagine his assistant showing her to the door, her proposal unheard, her opportunity gone. Single mothers didn't get second chances in boardrooms like this, but Marcus Thornwood didn't call security. Instead, he stood up. The room seemed to hold its breath as he walked around the conference table, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the marble floor. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs. Emma buried her face in her mother's shoulder, her tiny fingers clutching Sarah's blazer, the one she'd bought at a thrift store and had dry cleaned twice to make it look presentable. When Marcus reached them, he extended his arms. "May I?" His voice was softer than Sarah expected, almost gentle. She stared at him, confusion replacing her panic. What? "Your daughter. May I hold her while you present? You've come all this way. It would be a shame to waste your preparation." Sarah's mind went blank. This couldn't be happening. CEOs like Marcus Thornwood didn't hold strangers' babies. They didn't accommodate single mothers who showed up to meetings with children in tow. Yet here he stood, waiting patiently for her answer. Emma peeked out from Sarah's shoulder, her tear-stained face curious about the tall man with the kind eyes. Something in his expression must have reassured the toddler because she reached out one chubby hand toward him. With trembling fingers, Sarah transferred her daughter into the CEO's arms. Emma went willingly, her small hand immediately grasping the lapel of his expensive suit. Marcus adjusted his hold with surprising expertise, settling Emma on his hip as naturally as if he'd done it 1,000 times. "She's beautiful," he said, and Sarah caught something flickering across his face. A shadow of old pain, perhaps, or memory. "Please, begin your presentation." The next 45 minutes passed in a surreal blur. Sarah somehow found her voice, clicking through her slides while Marcus Thornwood stood at the back of the room, gently bouncing Emma and pointing out the view through the floor-to-ceiling windows when she got fussy. The other executives watched, their initial shock giving way to focused attention as Sarah laid out her innovative social media strategy for Thornwood's struggling retail division. She spoke about authenticity in marketing, about showing the human side of corporations, about connecting with customers through genuine stories rather than polished advertisements. Her words took on new weight with the CEO himself, demonstrating exactly that kind of unexpected humanity. When Sarah finished, the room erupted in applause. Marcus returned Emma to her arms, the toddler now clutching a Thornwood Industries pen she'd apparently stolen from his pocket. "Ms. Chen," Marcus said, and Sarah noticed his eyes were slightly red at the corners. "That was the most compelling presentation I've seen in 20 years. You're hired, not as a contractor, but as our new director of marketing. The position comes with a salary, full benefits, and on-site child care." Sarah's legs nearly gave out. I can't believe it." Marcus smiled, but there was sadness in it too. 15 years ago, my wife brought our daughter to my office during an emergency. I was furious. Told her I was too busy, that she was being unprofessional. I missed the whole afternoon with them because I was too focused on quarterly reports. He paused, his jaw tightening. They died in a car accident that evening. I never got to tell my little girl I was sorry for not holding her that day. The room had gone completely still. Sarah felt tears sliding down her cheeks now, unchecked. I learned too late that the meetings don't matter, Marcus continued. The deals, the profits, the reputation, none of it matters if you lose sight of what makes us human. You brought your baby because you had no choice, yes, but you also showed incredible courage. You didn't let impossible circumstances defeat you. That's the kind of person I want leading my team. Sarah looked down at Emma, who was making the pen dance through the air, oblivious to the life-changing moment unfolding around her. This morning, Sarah had felt like the world's worst mother, dragging her child into a professional setting. Now she realized Emma had been her greatest strength all along. "Thank you," Sarah whispered, "for giving me a chance, for seeing the whole person," Marcus finished. "That's what good leaders do. I forgot that for a long time. Thank you for reminding me." As Sarah gathered her materials, preparing to leave, several other executives approached her. They spoke about their own children, their own struggles with balance. The woman in the corner mentioned being a grandmother raising 2 grandchildren. The man by the window talked about his husband and their adopted son. The perfect, polished veneer of the corporate world cracked open, revealing the beautifully messy humanity underneath. 3 months later, Sarah would implement a company-wide policy allowing parents to bring children to work during emergencies. 5 months later, Thornwood Industries would be featured in a major publication for its progressive family policies. But on that morning, in that conference room, none of those future victories mattered. What mattered was a CEO who chose compassion over convention, a single mother who refused to give up despite impossible odds, and a 2-year-old girl who had no idea she'd just taught a room full of executives the most important business lesson of all: that success means nothing if we forget to be human first. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply hold space for someone else's struggle. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is keep showing up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. And sometimes the most extraordinary changes begin with an apology that transforms into an opportunity. Sarah walked out of that building with a new job, a new future, and renewed faith in the unexpected kindness of strangers. Behind her, Marcus Thornwood stood at his office window, watching her buckle Emma into her car seat, and smiled.